Hey there, you just clicked on First Down Punts. Nice move. This is a podcast about football and how it relates to fantasy football. Hope you like what you hear. We're going to get this thing started. Let's get crazy. And welcome in, everyone, to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris. Today we're going to be going over 10 trade targets, the Thursday night preview, and then a little bit of NFL news here to kick it off, which we'll get into right away. Marvin Harrison and Amari DiMercato for the Cardinals have been ruled out for this week. Fire up Mike Wilson, fire up Greg Dortch. And then also for the Cardinals, Trey Benson's 21-day practice window has been opened, which with DiMercato out, maybe he can get on the field this week, kind of dampen the mood on those other guys, Bam Knights, Michael Carters, but it would definitely help the Cardinals out if Benson could get back this week. Michael Penix, Falcons quarterback, has decided to have season-ending surgery on his ACL injury, and Kirk Cousins will be the full-time starter for the rest of the season, barring them bringing in a backup because he sucks ass or something. More than anything, that is just of note that Michael Penix will be out for the season, not just the 4 weeks on IR. Joe Burrow had his 21-day practice window opened, and he practiced in full on Wednesday. He's coming back from that toe injury, and if he can get back for this week, that would be great for the Bengals. He was targeting week 13. If he can get back a little bit earlier, that'd probably be good news for that offense, especially with no Jamar Chase after he lost his appeal of his suspension. And then also for the Bengals, Mike Gesicki had his 21-day practice window open, the tight end there in Cincy. That puts a damper on Noah Fant going forward if Gesicki's going to be back this week or following. But if Gesicki's not back this week, to me, Noah Fant is a definite flex player for you if you need a tight end filler with the news of Jamar Chase losing his appeal and going to be out this week. It'll be Higgins and Fant and Chase Brown, basically, and then maybe a little Andre Yosevas there. But Shedeur Sanders, another AFC North team, Shedeur Sanders will start for the Browns this week. It's official now. Dylan Gabriel has been ruled out with his concussion. We will see what happens. They have Bailey Zappi as the backup there. But Sanders is getting the first-team reps, going to play the Raiders, so not a tough matchup, but Max Crosby will still hunt you down. And like I said, I'm not a Sanders guy. I think the best he's ever going to be is Geno Smith. And we see how Geno looks right now with a bad offensive line. I got a feeling you're going to see some more of that with Cleveland, what you saw last week with Sanders. Maybe he comes out and balls out, but I'm not expecting that. I can tell you that much. Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs running back, coming back from a knee injury, has returned to practice. He got updated on the app. One of my fantasy apps is Healthy, which means he usually has a full practice. He's not limited or questionable, but I didn't see if it was a full practice yet or not yet. But he did return to practice, which is good news for the Chiefs offense. Kareem Hunt's a great goal line back, short yardage back, and he's a plotter, man, but Pacheco's got a little more burst to him, and they could definitely use that. New England Patriots wide receiver Kayshon Boutte was fully practicing on Wednesday, coming back from that hamstring injury. That puts a little damper on the Mac Hollins waiver ad, simply for the fact that Mac Hollins didn't start doing something until Kayshon Boutte went out, other than one game way earlier in this season. But the 2.5 games Kayshon Boutte was out, Mac Hollins was doing really well. And now with him back, I would downgrade Mac Hollins as well as Demario Douglas and even Hunter Henry. Tyler Higbee, Rams tight end, placed on IR. I don't like to cheer on injuries, but it's great news for a fantasy prospect, which is Terrence Ferguson, the rookie that they got there. I love the kid coming in. I've been waiting for him to get his opportunity to take over that tight end spot. Davis Allen is still there. He'll probably be involved. They'll probably kind of split reps. But Ferguson is by far the better receiving option and is worthy of an ad in deeper leagues. Maybe don't start him this week, but definitely add him to your roster and see what happens this weekend. But other than that, we're going to get in these trade targets, guys. I got 10 players for you to trade for before week 12. If your trade deadline hasn't happened yet, get out there and start making offers. Number one on this list, some people may not agree, but Bo Nix. Bo Nix has had 2 down games. He's on a bye this week, which some people may be willing to get rid of him because of these reasons. But Bo Nix still has staple back capabilities. He was a staple back last year, hit the 4,200-yard total mark, hit the 30-touchdown mark, and he's going to have to score more in these final weeks. They got some tougher matchups. Not that it's like, oh, he's not going to be able to score at all. To me, Broncos are going to have to score more points in general. And with Dobbins being placed on IR, Harvey's doing great, but he's doing better as a receiving back, which only helps Bo Nix's capabilities. And with them signing a little Jordan Humphrey, it's just another option for them there. Marvin Mims is back now. I feel like that's going to help that offense be able to put up some points over the final 7 weeks here. And Bo Nix is definitely a trade for candidate in my mind. Another quarterback to trade for. It's not a big secret that everybody loves Lamar Jackson, but now might be the time that you can trade for Lamar Jackson. He's had another guy. He's had 2 down weeks. He's dealing with an ankle injury right this week in practice. He's got 1 game left against top 10 defense versus fantasy quarterbacks. And right now, Rashad Bateman has been out the last couple games. Lamar Jackson has had a couple down games. I think Bateman's either going to be back this week or next week. I'm waiting to see some more practice reports, but I believe he was limited on Wednesday. So if he can get back, that just helps stretch that offense out, and it helps Lamar with his running capabilities. They can't stack the box when they got to worry about a deep guy. No, Bateman is not some dominant number 1 wide receiver, but he can catch the deep ball. That's all there is to it. And that portion of their offense is missing right now. Hopkins is old. He's not getting deep like that anymore. Zay Flowers can get deep, but they use him more in that underneath stuff, along with Mark Andrews, although Mark Andrews broke out for that 35-yard rushing touchdown. He was one of our trade candidates like 3-4 weeks ago. Been killing. He's had 4 touchdowns his last 4 games. So not expecting a rushing touchdown every week, but that was a nice addition this past week. But Lamar Jackson, he's another staple back. He's been basically a lifetime staple back in the league because if he stays healthy and plays all season, he hits all those marks. Now, he missed some missed some games already this year, but Lamar Jackson is a trade for candidate, man. And if you can grab him from somebody for the stretch run, I absolutely would. Wide receivers to trade for. Number 1 on that list, Emeka Egbuka. He had a down week, worries about Godwin coming back. He's only had 1 double-digit week in the last 5 weeks. And people are probably feeling a little salty about him right now after that huge touchdown start, which everybody should have expected regression. If you could have sold high on Egbuka, 4 or 5 weeks ago, that'd have been great. But right now, I think Egbuka is a trade for candidate because getting Bucky back will help that offense. Getting some linemen back is going to help that offense. And Baker and them are still in control of the NFC South right now. So I think the Bucs are going to have to play a lot better football going down the stretch. That's going to require Emeka Egbuka doing so. Another guy, Deebo Samuel, Commanders wide receiver. Yes, Deebo's old. Yes, the Commanders don't have Jaden Daniels right now. Now, the reports are that he is going to play if he can get back. His original timeline was 3 to 6 weeks. We'll see what happens with that dislocated arm, but no tendons torn, no broken bones. Definitely the best positive news you could have had for Jaden Daniels, but that's part of why I'm willing to trade for Deebo. Because if Daniels gets back, it just improves his value. But he's the only wide receiver left. I mean, McLaurin, we don't know when he's going to be back. McCaffrey's out. Jalen Lane, not doing enough. Noah Brown is out. Chris Moore not doing enough. Zach Ertz not doing enough. Deebo Samuel is their best receiving option. And not to mention, he'll still take a kickoff return every now and again. He still gets a handoff on an end around or just lines up in the backfield sometimes and gets those carries. Like I said, Deebo Samuel is one of the only receivers ever hit staple backs for wide receivers. And he still has some of that capability left. He's on a bye right now, so people are trying to replace him. Now's the time to go get him if your trade deadline hasn't happened yet. Running backs to go trade for, Breece Hall. Tyrod Taylor's been named the starter there with the Jets. That kind of stabilizes the offense and the Jets as a whole. Probably helps out that defense if they can just get first downs and not be dealing with the field's wildness. And Breece Hall is a special player. I think that's clear every time he touches the ball and has an opportunity, isn't being buried in the backfield before he can get the handoff. But he's coming off a down game. No Garrett Wilson yet. They're hoping he can get back after the 4 weeks, but that's not even a guarantee. So he's going to be the focal point of that offense. And they have games against Atlanta, Miami, Buffalo, and New Orleans, all teams that give up yards on the ground. With Taylor there to stabilize that offense, Breece Hall could definitely have a nice end of the season run here. Younger guy to trade for, Woody Marks. Houston's running back. He's fully taken over that backfield from Nick Chubb now. Coming off a bad game. 2 of his past 3 weeks are single-digit games. So everybody's like, oh, is he going to actually be good or is he just taking over the carries? I like Woody Marks. Do I think he's Devon Achane? No. but he's a guy that you could trade for on the cheap probably. He's still dealing with Davis. Davis Mills is starting again this week. Getting CJ Stroud is only going to help that back here in a week or two. Is only going to help that offense. But Mills has been serviceable. He's passing him the ball. He's getting all the rushing opportunities. And down the stretch, Marks could be that guy that you go trade for to fill in for a guy you lost to injury or a guy that just isn't producing and ends up, you trade a fourth receiver for him and he ends up helping you win your league. Another running back. Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara had a terrible game a few weeks ago. Came back last week, looked great again. Tyler Shuck is not a starter there. To me, that's a benefit to Alvin Kamara with the fact that Shuck's not a runner like Rattler was. Rattler was much more of a scrambling running back. Shuck is, if I get an opportunity, I will, but I'm not. That's not my first option or second option. Shuck has a little bit of mobility in the pocket. He's not known for taking off and running. He can a little bit, but like I said, he reminds me of Jared Goff. Coming off of that play action, getting rid of the ball to where it needs to go, willing to take what the defense gives him. These are all things that Shuck is going to continue to improve on down the stretch. And he is passing the ball to Alvin Kamara, unlike Rattler. With that lack of mobility of his, Kamara is back in the short run game instead of Rattler just taking off and running. Shuck will drop it down to him. They got a great, amazing schedule versus running backs in fantasy down the stretch of this season. Alvin Kamara is the only person there. Devin Neal isn't doing enough. Kendre Miller's out for the season. To me, Alvin Kamara is a buy right now. You may not trust the Saints offense, but trust Alvin Kamara. That's how I feel about it. I feel like down the stretch of the season, he's going to help teams win their fantasy leagues. The last guy on the running back, not a big surprise, I don't think, to anybody, that I would like you to trade for Devon Achane. I would love to. I made an offer for him, but he turned me down. But right now, he's on a buy. Ollie Gordon, I mean, you can, when you're selling this pitch, you got to be like, Ollie Gordon's been taking snaps, stole a touchdown last week. But Devon Achane is the focal point of this offense. Jalen Waddle obviously is number 2, but Devon Achane does it all. He runs the ball. He catches the ball. He probably does returns if you ask him to. He might throw the damn thing if you need him to. He is the Boobie Miles of the Miami Dolphins offense. And I think Devon Achane is a player that you should be willing to pay up for and go get to help you win your league. Not to mention, down the stretch, he plays New Orleans, the Jets, and Cincinnati's defense. Kyle Pitts, tight end you need to trade for. I know that's a weird thing to hear. We all have been on a roller coaster at some point, I'm sure, with Kyle Pitts. But right now, with no Drake London, week 8 with Kirk Cousins, who is now the starter there, 9 for 59 in one of the games Kirk Cousins started. That means he was looking for Pitts, and Drake London, I believe, played that game. I don't think that was the one he missed. But all the same, Kyle Pitts has got an easy schedule for tight ends down the stretch, including the 2 games versus the New Orleans Saints. He's not going to cost you what it would go trade for a top tight end, for a George Kittle, for one of these other guys, the Brock Bowers, the Trey McBrides. But Kyle Pitts could come out and help stabilize your tight end position, which is a weird thing to say with Kyle Pitts, I know. But he could actually, in my mind, help you stabilize that tight end position because he's going to be needed for the Atlanta offense going down the stretch with no Drake London. What I do know is Kyle Pitts is going to be involved, and with your deadline coming up, you're in need of a tight end. Maybe you got Kincaid banged up. You don't know when he's coming back. Go get a Kyle Pitts. The other tight end I'm thinking about is Harold Fannin Jr. I've been a fan of his all season. If you watched our other videos earlier in the season, you know this. He's been a waiver wire ad. He's been a guy that I thought you should have drafted in deep leagues. Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end for the Browns, is a focal point of the Browns offense this season. I've said this all year. He lines up in the backfield. He lines up inline tight end, lines up in the slot, lines up out wide. This guy is all over the field. And yes, David Njoku's still there. These are the things that you can use to go trade for him. Oh, man, Njoku's still there. You don't know what's going to happen with Fannin. Fannin's been banged up a little bit lately. Shedeur Sanders is starting in week 12. Do you really want to count on Fannin? Use these arguments to go trade for him because I feel like Harold Fannin is going to continue to produce for you. Is it at a Brock Bowers level? Probably not. But can we get him into that Kincaid mode? Maybe a Mark Andrews mode where he becomes touchdown dependent? Gabriel's already been willing to throw to the tight ends. You've seen that when he was starting. Stefanski already said Gabriel is going to be the starter when healthy. So I would look for trading for Harold Fannin if I can. That'll be all for the trade targets. We're going to get in this Thursday night football now. Bills versus the Texans. Couple good defenses here. Not the Texans is a great defense. The Bills is a good defense, but they're definitely can be ran on. We've seen that. They were not getting ran on as much when Ed Oliver was there and Michael Hoyt joined along with Ojabani or whatever his name is. But Hoyt's out for the season now. Oliver's out for the season now. The Bills have been a run funnel since those guys have been out, and definitely a team I'm looking to run on. That's another reason I was talking about Woody Marks. I know you see the Bills on the schedule and it's like, ooh, but Woody Marks does pass catching and rushing, so he's never getting taken off the field unless he's tired or they want to run something with Chubb for short yardage. So, but on this game, starts for this game, Josh Allen, James Cook on the Bills side, Nico Collins, and Ka'im Fairbairn. The kicker, he is back this week. He missed the last 2 weeks, but he'll be back this week. Fairbairn's a hell of a kicker. I think you can go ahead and start him. If they're saying he's healthy, I would trust him that he is. Flex players for this game. Davis Mills at the quarterback. I know it's not a sexy start, but if you're desperate for a QB2, but you got Bo Nix on a bye, Davis Mills can fill in for you. And with the weapons he has, he's been able to put up points, even if it ends up being in garbage time. He's putting up points. And that's all you're looking for. If you can get 2 touchdowns and 250, you're happy day with Davis Mills. Woody Marks, not only is a trade for a candidate, he's a flex player. I should have put him in the start category, honestly. But Chubb could still a touchdown. But Woody Marks has been a damn good player. Tennessee, I expected him to have a better week last week, but Jeffrey Simmons did come back from injury for the Titans last week on a defensive line. That makes a huge difference for them. So Marks didn't have as big a day. Titans played tough. I expect him to have a better day this week, but I got him as a flex just in case. Maybe you got better players. There's not as many running backs on a bye that you normally use this week. So put him in your flex, you'll be fine. Houston's defense, definitely willing to start them this week. Not excited about it, but they're still a good defense. We've seen the Bills put up only 13 and 14 points in a couple games this year against tougher defenses recently. And Houston could definitely be able to just slow them down. Maybe not stop Josh Allen himself, but definitely slow down some of those receivers with the DBs they got. Dalton Schultz and Jaden Higgins, those secondary receiving options for the Texans, I believe they're going to be involved. Definitely Dalton Schultz. Higgins is more of a deeper league flex player, but Higgins is a guy I like coming out. I've said this many times. I like Jalen Noel too. Both Iowa State receivers I was big on this year. But Higgins has been the guy that's got more involved this season. He had a touchdown, 442 and a touchdown last week. He's a guy that continues to get opportunities, especially since Davis Mills has been the starter. So, guy that I think you could flex with some certainty. Khalil Shakir on the Bills side, he's the number one receiver there, de facto or not. He's still the number one receiver there. He's a guy that's going to be involved. Buffalo defense against that Houston offense. Obviously, Davis Mills has been known to have a turnover or two. And I'm not worried about that for fantasy because I kind of look at it the Ryan Fitzpatrick. If he throws 2 touchdowns, I don't care about the turnover and a couple sacks. But that still counts for points for Buffalo's defense, not to mention return yardage, all that good stuff. And then Matt Prater, the kicker there for the Bills, might not have a big day. I'm always willing to start Matt Prater. Maybe he does have a big day because Houston slows down the Bills' offense and holds them to field goals instead of touchdowns. I'm not expecting a huge day from Matt Prater. That's how I guess I would put it. Serviceable day, yes. Huge day, not so much. Sits for this game, Gabe Davis. I know he just got back with the Bills, got activated last week. He resorted back to the practice squad for the week. He'll probably get activated again. But with Keon Coleman possibly being back after being inactive last week, I can't even guarantee that. He could be benched. He could be inactive again this game. But not willing to start Gabe Davis. Not willing to start Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, none of those guys. Ty Johnson, in the deepest of leagues, I guess you could flex him just because against that Houston defense, he could be more involved. But I'm not really looking to start a lot of Bills that you don't normally count on. And then Dawson Knox, I don't even want to start him this week. Houston's defense has been good against tight ends. With Halls there, with the amount of receiving options that they have that are nobody special, they're just all a bunch of guys. You don't know who's going to end up getting it if somebody does get the receiving. I'm just not willing to start these guys this week. And then on the other side, Nick Chubb, no thanks. Like I talked about, Woody Marks is taking over the opportunities. Nick Chubb, if he steals a touchdown, great. I'm not going to be counting on that. Christian Kirk, Xavier Hutchinson, Jalen Noel. Those third or fourth, fifth receivers there in Houston, I don't want nothing to do with. My sneaky star for this game, though, Tyrell Shavers. Tyrell, I don't know how to say it. Had 4 catches and a touchdown last week. He's the rookie. He had some good preseason games. Had a little shot. I think he had a big catch earlier. I think it was 1 touchdown, 1 catch for a long touchdown earlier this season. But with Keon Coleman out, he was the big performer for them. They might try to roll with him again. Worth taking a dart throw on if Keon Coleman is out again. That's how I look at that. And even if he isn't, maybe still do it. If they don't promote Gabe Davis or Keon Coleman is out, I definitely think Shavers is worthy of a deep league dart throw. So, other than that, guys, we're going to get out of here. Hope you're having a good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching. Until next time, I'm out. First down, Punts!